All right. Hey, so this is the first episode. We wanted to do something special, something unique for the Kingwood, Atascocita, and surrounding areas in the Lake Houston area. So we're calling this HKA Live. So my name's Matt Reyes.
And I'm Satina, Stewart.
Yeah, and we just wanted to bring something fun, talk about local news, local events, the housing market, anything related to the Lake Houston area. Again, HKA Live. So we're doing this and we're going to have some fun.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. It's going to be a blast.
All right. So what I wanted to do first, there's so many things that are happening in the Lake Houston area. I mean, there's a bunch of new restaurants. There's, the housing market is like super crazy right now, and just all those things, right? So we have a couple things that we want to share with you today. We're going to talk about Mr. Gaddy's coming to town. We're going to talk about the clearing on 1960, because that's going to be just everybody's nightmare when it comes to traffic.
For about 3 years.
3 years. Yeah, that's gonna be great. And then we're also gonna talk about something really awesome, which is a Promise House. We'll talk about that more later. And then some economist guy, the people that know everything about the economy, they're gonna share we're gonna just reflect on their insight and what they think about the housing market coming soon. So let's get started.
Yeah.
So Mr. Gaddy's coming to town. Why do you like Mr. Gaddy's coming to? What do you think about Gaddy's?
I was surprised when I saw it, because there used to be a Mr. Gaddy's a long time ago in Humble. If anybody remembers where it used to be, I can't remember where it used to be, but it must have been I think I was in middle school. So this is probably like in 2000 or 2001, somewhere around there. So when I heard that it was coming back, it actually opened on May 26th. Has anybody been over there? Have you seen it?
No, well, it's right there on Kingwood Drive, where
it's where Aldi's and Jason's Deli is.
Yeah, where the old Steinmart used to be, because that's a no-go anymore, right? No Steinmart. Because I'm only from the Kingwood, Lake Houston area for the last 12 years ish.
Okay.
So how long have you been in the area?
Yeah, I was born in I wasn't born in Humble, but I've been here since I was 3.
Oh wow, yeah. So you have some experience in this area, right? Only 12 to her many years, right? We'll leave it at that.
32. They're 32 years, so 35.
That's young. I'm 37. Oh. 36. Anyways, all right. So, the reason I'm excited about it is there's more options than just Chuck E. Cheese, because you touch anything in Chuck E. Cheese, it feels like kind of greasy a little.
No. Okay. Excuse me. I take my daughter to Chuck E. Cheese quite often.
I do too. But I love it though. The pizza's great.
So, but Mr. Gaddy's is cool because it has what? It has, the food, it has the arcade. So, I'm sure it's probably booked now for parties, and people are like coming out in droves now. So I'm just glad to see something, family oriented open up. I think it's going to be have a very successful year.
Yeah.
Just because of the timing and, the type of business that it is. So I think it'll definitely be an asset.
Oh, definitely.
I hope it stays open this time.
I'm going to give it a lot of business. Well, another reason is because I'm probably still going to go to Chuck E. Cheese ever so often. It's Chuck E. Cheese, I remember that as a kid. It was like super treat just to go to Chuck E. Cheese. But the reason I like it even more is I live in Kingwood, I live in Foster's Mill. So it's a lot closer than it used to be. So now it's just an even bigger temptation just to head over to Mr. Gaddy's and spend, I don't know, a lot more money than I wanted to on pizza and games.
Yeah. Do they do tickets? I can't remember if Mr. Gaddy operates off of tickets.
Now they don't even do tickets. Like at Chuck E. Cheese, they just do like a little pass.
The little credit cards.
Little credit card thing. Yeah. And so we're priming them early, right? Getting kids used to
get the kids used to using the credit cards. That's another conversation.
Oh my gosh. All right, cool. So the next topic I wanted to talk about was the FM 1960 road expansion. So this road expansion is going from, of course, all my HKA peeps, if you live in the Lake Houston area, this expansion is going to go from roughly between Townsend and where the east end of Business 1960 starts. So the east side of Business 1960 all the way through the bridge going over to Huffman. So that's a long stretch. It's roughly 5 miles? Something like that. It's a lot of road.
Yeah.
And so they're expanding it. There's so many different things that they're doing. They're creating like a median in some areas. It's going to be like 18 feet. But this project's going to take like 3 months.
No, 3 months. 3 years.
3 years.
Yeah.
3 years.
Yeah. It's like 4 lanes to 6 lanes in some spots. So it's supposed to be two. It's actually 2 separate projects. There's an eastern expansion and the western expansion. There's going to actually be in the eastern expansion, they're going to do an overpass. Like where 1960 and West Lake Houston Parkway meet, they're going to do an overpass. So that should be pretty interesting. I mean, one's supposed to end in 2023 and the other one's 2024 projected. Now,
Oh my gosh.
There's that. So I'm looking, I mean, I think that we need it. I mean, I think we should have done this like 5 years ago.
Oh my gosh. Well, I mean, it's just, there's so many people that travel that road. So if you've ever had to drive that road for going to work, I mean, if you're in the Lake Houston area, you travel that road, and sometimes it's just a mess, right? So some of the cool things that they're doing are actually, let me see, I pulled up some stats from the, what's it called? The Lake Houston area informational. And so one of them is they're actually adding an 18-foot wide median to areas from like Birmingham Road all the way through almost to that Huffman Bridge. So they're adding that. And then of course that overpass to some of the parts where they're going over 1960 and West Lake Houston Parkway and Atascocita Road. So there's going to be an overpass there. There's actually going to be a bike lane that they're adding to that. And there's going to be sidewalks. So if you wanted to, right? So if you're that runner, that walker, and you wanted to walk from, you know, Atascocita area all the way to maybe like Humble City, all that area, you'd be able to do that. So I'm kind of looking forward to that, but you know, there's no shade. So maybe they add some trees. That'd be really cool. Yeah. They've been doing a lot of those projects around the Atascocita area. So I'm looking forward to it. Not looking forward to the mess that it's creating. I mean, they've already taken out like so many of the trees, like right in front of the Walmart, like that whole stretch from like Kings Park all the way through pretty much that whole stretch to about Atascocita Road, where Atascocita Road meets 1960. I mean, there were so many trees there that kind of gave it a little bit more like intimate feel, warm feeling when you're driving through that little stretch, but those are all gone. Yeah. I mean, have you seen it? I mean, what do you think?
I mean, I think they're going to beautify it later. They're going to just like level it, do what they have to do. And then hopefully, I think they're going to have to.
I know, right?
Make it pretty.
It's the little
at some point.
Area, you know?
Yeah, for sure. I do want to make a revision though. It was Gaddy Town that was here. It wasn't Mr. Gaddy's.
Gaddy Town. I'm not sure the difference. I mean, it sounds so
similar. Well, I think it's two different companies. I'm not sure about that, but I know it was Gaddy Town. That's what I was thinking of.
Gaddy Town.
Yeah, I was thinking of Gaddy's Town.
Oh my gosh. All right. Well, now that you know, I'm still looking forward to it because I'm going to get some of that pizza.
Yeah, for sure. So Gaddy Town was here, and now Mr. Gaddy's is here.
So, well, you brought this story to my attention. It's the Promise House homeless shelter in the Humble area. So tell me about the homeless shelter.
It's called, it's the Promise House. It's actually starting to be, construction supposed to start today.
Oh, wow.
From what I read. But it's the partnering with First America Homes. It's a Signorelli company. They're a builder here in Houston. I think they might have just moved into this market area recently, but it's a home for local families. It gives them resources for low-income families or families that just need help. It's supposed to be like a day center for homeless families in the greater Houston area. That's basically what it is. And they're going to have counseling, mentoring services, GED programs, and a lot of other programs that help people develop skills and everything so they can get jobs. It's really neat. Cool. It's supposed to be off of near the intersection between 1960 and Wilson Road.
That's exciting. I mean, I'm really looking forward to that. And so if you would like to, donate into that project, we should have some links. We'll probably post some links here in, the chat or the description so you can participate in that. That's a really neat thing that they do, just helping them with, I think they also help them with skills and trades or just connecting them to jobs as well, right?
Yeah.
So that's really, really
neat. It's supposed to be like 5,800 square foot facility.
Oh my gosh, that's huge.
So it's going to be very interesting. It has a playroom, a dining room. I'm just reading off my cheat notes. What else? Oh, parenting and money management classes.
Hey, I need some parenting up too with 3 kids. So, but anyways, so the parenting and budgeting, that's going to be a huge value add. Yeah. So the Promise House is definitely way more than just, hey, come live here. I mean, they really are teaching them skills so they can take back, apply in the workplace, just apply in their life. I mean, like you said, with budgeting and parenting skills. Yeah. So that's a really awesome value add to the Lake Houston area. I'm so excited that they're bringing that here. So now another topic that we'll segue into is the economy, right? The economy, the housing demand. So that's getting crazy. I mean, 2 real estate agents. We have to talk real estate for a little bit, right? So the housing demand is going crazy. So Satina, what are your thoughts on the housing demand?
There is none. There's no houses.
There's none. We got none left.
They gone. No, like, I mean, they're around. It's just, you know, you have to be the right. It's not the right market for a lot of people. So with this economist, there's economist Elliot Eisenberg who visited Houston recently, and he basically was saying, you know, that, you know, there are a lot of people moving from different states.
Yeah.
From like California, for example, is a big one that are, you know, making it hard for local buyers to buy because they have a little more cash just in general, just because of the market there. But he did say, you know, he also thought that the checks that they're saving from the pandemic, which I'm not sure if this is necessarily correct, but 2.5 trillion excess savings, he says, that people have gotten during the pandemic, that they are using for down payments on houses.
Wow.
You know, but the inventory was already low, and now it's even lower because, you know, a lot of people who want to sell, you know, are scared.
That's true.
Because they're like, well, where am I going to go?
The heck am I going?
Right.
Yeah.
So, you know, to take advantage of the market, you also sort of have to be the right seller. But I actually have had conversations with a lot of agents. I don't know if you've had about what's going on in the market right now.
Yeah.
And depends on who you ask. It's like you'll get different answers. So
yeah, well, I mean, I think going back to your point you made about the stimulus checks, I mean, depending on your income status, I mean, you could have received anything from like $600 to like $2,400, and sometimes even more because there were, I think, 2 rounds of stimulus checks.
Yeah.
And so let's just say let's go with an average. Let's say you received $3,000 total, right, in these stimulus checks. And let's say you were going out to buy a home that's $350,000 and the average FHA down payment. And I've seen even some conventional.
Some conventionals are 3%.
3%. So 3% on a $250,000 house, it's what, $7,500, right? So then just that stimulus check alone, those 2 stimulus checks, you're already halfway to a down payment almost.
Yeah.
And so I would say for some people that probably was that bump in helping them jump into the housing market. Many of them probably were maybe renters going from renting, now they're buying a home. So then you have just a whole group of people that are now moving into this market that may not have necessarily had the means, which is great, but at the same time, it creates a crunch. So now people that are going to, oh, great, now I'm going to sell. And then people who are maybe doing that up buy or downward buy, there's not really that downward home, right? For the most part, where you're going from the 250, 3-bedroom, 2.5 bath, move up to the 4-bedroom, 3.5 bath, because, you had that 3rd kid, 4th kid, or 5th kid, because a pandemic baby, that's real, right? And what are they calling it? The COVID baby, right? The COVID baby. I've heard some of those stories out there. The COVID baby is real. My wife and I, not so much, right? We're done with 3, so we didn't have no COVID baby in the house. But yeah, so I mean, you're looking at your reality, your immediate circumstances, the influx of stimulus, and now you're stimulated to go and buy a home.
Yeah.
So I think that was real, but now again, it's just tough. And you brought up another good point. So tell me more about, it's just not the right time for specific buyers. Now, it's not the right time for, who would you say it's not the right time for?
I mean, this is, obviously I'm a disclaimer. This is my own professional opinion. I don't want to discourage anyone who wants to buy a home, go ahead and try,
Definitely.
But I think for some people who are, if you're really leaning on the FHA loan right now, really the winners right now are, I'll just be honest, the winners right now are people with cash. As always, that hasn't changed really, but people with conventional loans, who can get a conventional loan and who can, if at all possible, you ask for very little at closing. So like, don't ask the seller for any money. In addition to that, you have to offer over, often we're seeing that, and then waive appraisal. So if you have a loan, generally the lender will have an appraiser come out, they'll appraise the home, and the home, honestly, the market might dictate that the home sell for more than the appraiser says is actually valued. And at that point, a lot of agents have just flat out asked me when I've been helping people buy homes, can you waive appraisal? And some people can't. Some people can't waive appraisal and not ask for closing costs. They usually have to pick between the two.
Yeah.
So
that's a crutch with the FHA.
Yes. So I mean, that's, if you find yourself that you're the person who has to have closing costs, and you're working with an FHA loan, this may not be the market for you. You might want to back off and wait till the fall. And that's conversations I've had to have with several people.
And there's pros with that, right? I mean, the con is that you can't jump into the market and buy your home today, but the pro, I would say you get to save a little bit more, right? And you get to save a little bit more. Maybe then you get to opt. So you get to future-proof yourself a little bit. Instead of just going for the 3-2, maybe you do have the money to save for the 4-bedroom home that you maybe were eyeing. Maybe you were eyeing that elevation that had a little bit more brick, or maybe the extended patio in the backyard. So I think there are a ton of benefits with just saving a little bit more and just waiting to buy that dream home or that starter home or that second home, whatever it may be.
Yeah, you also might look into new construction, and you got to be a little careful there too, because prices have gone up on builders. I was talking to a guy who's a builder. We were doing a walkthrough for one of my clients over in Artavia, and he said, a piece of like 4x8 used to cost like $35 for a piece, and now it was like $128.
Dang.
Yeah,
that's a ton.
So
that's a difference. That's a spread.
You're seeing new homes increase dramatically every month. How much one home would have been the same community in February is drastically different now. It's higher now than it was in February. Same home in the same location, just because the price of materials has gone up. So we're seeing that on the upside. If you bought a new home 2 years ago, you might look into selling it, because I've had people are doing that left and right. They bought 2 or 3 years ago a brand new home. They're being able to get 50, 60, 70,000 more now.
Wow.
Than
That's intense, right? And I definitely hope that just make a smart decision, right? When you're thinking about doing that, I mean, if you wanted to call in and talk to one of our agents or Satina, and we can definitely help you, just craft that decision based on your specific circumstances. So you just need to decide what's right for you, Yeah,
be smart. And if you can wait, and you're that buyer who's like, oh, I'd love to, but I need some help. Yeah. You might just want to sit back on this for right now. Just
keep it cool for a little bit. So, well, let's segue. So now let's highlight a neighborhood in the Lake Houston area. We just kind of picked randomly, and it's a neighborhood I used to live in, Eagle Springs. I know most people in the Lake Houston area are very familiar with Eagle Springs, but let's just kind of pull up some stats on that neighborhood. So what I wanted to do is kind of take a walk down memory lane. And so back in May of 2019, the number of homes listed for sale in May 2019 were 77, right? So there were 77 homes listed for sale in May 2019. Guess how many homes were listed for sale last year? This year. So from 2 years ago, 77 homes on the market. Now guess how many homes are for sale in May 2021?
Oh, it has to be less. What is it,
like 25?
20?
25 houses. Oh my gosh. And so that's a decrease of like almost 70%. That's 67.5% decrease in homes for sale. And then so under contract, the number of homes under contract. So it's not dramatically different, but the ratio, right? So 16 homes under contract in May of 2019. And then now 18 homes are for sale. So it's not necessarily more houses are going pending, but just the ratio of homes, not as many homes, same number of homes going pending. So you're competing. So there's less homes, same number of buyers. So I mean, there's some vicious,
more buyers, more buyers.
More buyers. So and then the number of solds, we got 18, and then in 2019, and then in May of 2021, we had 19 homes sold. So again, roughly the same number of homes sold, and from 2 years ago to now. But again, I think the biggest factor to consider, less homes, like almost 70% less homes for sale. People don't know where to go.
Yeah, exactly. And so they're just waiting to see. Do you think, and this is something I've talked to a pretty big agent at our brokerage about this in the hallway.
Really?
And
water cooler talk kind of stuff.
Yeah, water cooler talk.
Cool.
And he was saying, I was talking about the prices, and I've had some agents talk to me about this. They're concerned, right? Because you're seeing a house, let's say listed for $250, and we're having all this competition, and the house sells for like $275, right? And or more, $280, $290, right? Because someone was able to waive appraisal, right?
Go big.
And they're like, in 3 years, is this person going to be able to sell this home for $280, $290, or $300? Are the prices, are they buying too high, will these prices hold? And some people are like, no, they're not going to be able to get their money back because they bought an overpriced house essentially because the market said it was priced because they could. Mm-hmm. This agent thinks that they are actually going to hold, that the prices are going to hold. He thinks that the Houston market was very affordable. It's always been affordable if you compare it to other large metropolitan cities, and that it was essentially undervalued, and that it's actually catching up to the national average now, and that it's going to hold from once this all settles down. Those prices are going to hold, and people will be able to get their money back.
Yeah, I think that's true. I definitely think that people will be able to, even if you increase interest rates, right? I mean, you're just, essentially just, factoring that out over a series of payments, whatever it may be. And who knows what's going to look like in 3 years, right? What the pool of buyers are going to look like, how many homes are going to be on the market, what trends are going to be for the housing market in the greater Houston area and specifically the Lake Houston area. But I mean, I do agree. I think prices would be able to hold over longness. So I vote yes to that thought.
You vote yes?
I vote yes on that one.
But on a positive note, and I know we've been talking, on a positive note though, if you have a home to sell and you're in a position where you maybe can find a place to go, or you want to do a lease back, because there are options for people who want to sell right now. There's options. You can extend your contract, you can get a lease back. There's things you can do so that you can have time to find a home. Sell high, buy a little higher, because some people, they want to sell their house for a lot of money, but they don't want to pay on the other end.
Oh yeah.
Right. They're like, we're going to pay too much for this house and we shouldn't have to pay this much for this house. But you wanted to sell your house for high.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? What's good for the goose is good for the gander. You know what I mean?
That's a good one.
But I say, listen, it's still a better investment for you to sell your house at an astronomical amount because people are willing to pay. Yeah. Then buy a little higher, because you're going to have to buy a little higher in this market at this low interest rate, because we know that generally when it's a buyer's market, when it's a buyer's market, so when it flips, and it will, because it's a cycle, when it flips, interest rates tend to increase. Mm-hmm. So over the long term, it's better now to sell high, buy a little higher at a low interest rate.
That's a good point. And then, like you said earlier, I mean, let's say you're buying or you're selling your $200K house, $200,000 house, you make $10 grand more. Let's just say
15. I mean, it's not even a stretch.
Oh, and then even a stretch. You're just taking the extra money you made and then you're deferring it into the next home you're buying. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, in essence, like Satina said, it's a wash, right? Mm-hmm. Well, let's just say you're not even.
2.9%.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah.
I would say here's another thing many should consider. Maybe you love your home, but you're figuring out how to take advantage of this market or interest rates. I would say maybe doing a cash out refi and going and buying a second home. If you wanted that condo in Galveston, mm-hmm. maybe you wanted that little lake house, the little acre lot, right on the lake, or just near a lake, or just a country home, or wherever, whatever, right? Whatever second home you wanted to do. I think that is a great opportunity right now to take advantage of the low interest rates. Like I said, cash out refi, maybe have some equity, take some of that and put it in a second home. And then you have a space to go in the event, Lord willing, God forbid, there's ever a second lockdown, but you just have a place to vacate and get away, and just enjoy live time with the family, or just solo, spot with your partner, whatever it may be. So yeah, I think that's a great opportunity. So, well, that's awesome. Well, I think that was a great first episode of HKA Live. Yeah. So if you have any thoughts on other topics or other things you would like us to mention, or other neighborhoods you would like us to highlight, or let's say you know of a restaurant or a business that's coming in that you want us to mention and give a special shout out to, just send it to us here in the comments, or just reach out to
get an email.
We need to get an email. We need to get it. Until then, just direct message this account on wherever you're seeing it, whether it be YouTube or Facebook, and we'll get back to you as soon as possible. And you'll find it maybe on episode 2 of HKA Live.
Yeah.
All right. Well, y'all have a blessed one, guys. Talk to y'all soon.